So why is Real's technology outpacing the rest of the industry? Hey, what's up guys? Clayton Gits here. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Real Talk. I am joined today by, I would call him a friend now, but the Chief Technology Officer of Real, Pritesh Damani, and super honored and humbled because this is a busy man and he's got a lot of crazy things going on that we're going to talk about today. So Pritesh, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, man. Of course, our friends. So thanks for having me over.
Yeah, it's good to see you as always. And Pritesh is down in Florida, so he's nice and warm today, and it is not nice and warm here in Richmond, Virginia today. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. So Pritesh, we just got back from Orlando and our annual conference, Rise, and I'll just I've said this on previous videos over the past couple of weeks, but man, my mind was blown. Like, and it's funny, you past couple of years, because I've only been with the company, gosh, not even 2 years now. But last year at Rise, you're like, you should be clapping. Like, I should hear more clapping because this, like, you don't understand the implications of what we've built and what we're building. And I don't disagree with you. I mean, I think it's, the reason I said outpacing the rest of the industry is because we are. I mean, we are all in, and I say this all the time, Pritesh. Like we're not perfect, just like any real estate platform or brokerage, but we do technology really well because we're all in on it. So that being said, can you just tell us, what was different about this year in terms of the tech announcements specifically? And let's start there. So what did we announce, and why is it? Why are you excited about it?
So, this year was special because it takes 5 years to get to this year, and maybe I'll say the same thing next year as well. Right? It takes 5 years to get to the 6th year, but everything that we've built, was with something in mind, which was if we control our information, we control our destiny, and we control how we use the information that we own. Right. So this year was a foray into agentic AI is how I've started, talking about it. I have kind of started, internalizing it as well. And agentic AI is when AI starts working for you instead of you using AI. Right. So let's take like the standard example, me going to ChatGPT and saying, hey, can you create me a marketing presentation or like a listing description or whatever you use it for. You're starting the interaction, you're waiting, it responds, you take that input, take that output, you paste it in your email or wherever you want to do it, and then you go from there. Now that's standard use of AI. Agentic AI is when you tell an agent that's an AI agent, hey, post my listing to my MLS. Now it will go understand your MLS ID, go to ChatGPT or whatever it wants to use. It's called tool calling. It will call the right tools. It will create a perfect description. It will edit the photos for you. It will rearrange the photos for you. It will then upload that entire listing into MLS and like do all the other formality it has to do while you're doing something else. So that's agentic AI, where you have agents that you can deploy that do work for you, right? So at Rise, most of our announcements were around agentic AI, and people just, it takes a bit for people to wrap their heads around it, and it's not their fault. It's just maybe the most, cutting edge term of the year in many ways, and I can see us exploring that a lot over 2026.
How far are we from what you just described at Real?
So let's talk about it. I think Haleo was our consumer, in many ways, agent. Like, how does it work? You go to haleo.com, you can talk to it. Now, it's voice enabled, right? So you can literally talk to it like as if you're talking to an agent, and I think it will work pretty well, and people should try it. We are in limited MLSs, right, at the moment. So what does that mean? That means that for people who don't know what MLSs are, yeah, throughout the United States, there are like, anywhere from 400 to 600 MLSs that have property data sources, like property data. And every agent goes and puts their data into MLS, and then MLS syndicates it out to people who have rights to it. So we have to sign agreements with every MLS in the country to get data access. So we've, at this point in time, we are around 50 MLSs, right? By Q1, we'll have majority of them done that matter, right? Some MLSs are big and some MLSs are small. And by the end of Q1, I think we'll have entire United States and Canada covered, right? So that's just to put some things in perspective. So if you go and use Halio and if it doesn't work for you, it's most likely because we don't have MLS coverage yet, right? So you go there, you start talking to it. It will talk to you like you're talking to a realtor. It will onboard you. It will ask you questions about your family, your life, or whatever, and like kind of guide you through the conversation and start showing you properties. Well, that's still not agentic. What's agentic about it? It's still the same thing. It's just voice-enabled AI. You're going and you're driving it, right? You're right. There's nothing agentic about it. However, you turn it, and then you say from an agent perspective, which is real estate agents, not AI agents, real estate agents. How is this agentic? Real estate agents will now be able to customize Halio for themselves, right? So imagine you go in, you get a phone number that people can text to, but it's your agent that's responding in your behalf, not you. You get a URL, halio.com/Clayton or whatever you want. And you train it with your own voice if you want to train it with your own voice. And when people go to that URL, now they're talking to Clayton, or they can call that number and they're talking to Clayton in your voice if you want, or you can use one of the voices that we have. And still it's not agentic, right? Like what's agentic? It's still not agentic. Like you've now adopted the AI and it's given it a persona and now it works for you. Now here's the agentic part about it. You have a database of 10,000 people that you've talked to over 15 years of your business or whatever you've been doing business for, right? And there's no possible way that you can connect with all 10,000 people and provide something meaningful as a human being, right? Even if you hire people, like how many cold calls are they going to do? How are they going to connect? They're not connecting as Clayton. They're not providing anything of value, right? Like, and that's what, we internally debate the idea of spam. Like, what is spam? Spam is information that nobody else wants. And like, it could be interesting. It could be good information, but if I don't want it, I think it's spam, right?
Yep.
So when most things like, J. Crew tries to sell me T-shirts for Thanksgiving, right? Like Thanksgiving sale. When I'm buying T-shirts, I don't think that email is spam. But when I'm not buying T-shirts, that email is spammy. And oftentimes I'll unsubscribe because it's just like they're sending me 3 emails a week now, right? So when the traditional approach to contacting your database is you put them in a CRM, the CRM puts them on a drip campaign, and you send them local news or you send them new properties in the area through your MLS or through some kind of property integration. Or you're cold calling, exactly. Or you're cold calling. And let's be honest, like how many people want to like be on the other side of this? Like how many people who have bought their homes want to hear from the realtor saying, hey, how is it going? Like they appreciate the call the first time, the second time. What about the 10th time? Like it is borderline gets weird.
You actually bring up a really good point because we're almost forcing conversations. And the game that a lot of people are playing at a high level, the ones that are playing it at a high level, I should say, they practice scripting and role play consistently so that they can better articulate, whatever message they're trying to get across to the potential lead to get them to engage and stay on the phone and build a relationship. That's the game that most people are playing that are playing this lead generation game. It's a really good point you bring up.
Well, but like how many people want to be on the other side of the phone call?
And the answer is they don't. Yeah.
They don't. Of course, realtors have to try. You have to try to build your business. You have to try to call them. Even if 1 out of 1,000 people want to be on the other side, you still got a listing or you still got a buy side deal. Like it's great numbers for you, right? However, the question to ask really is why do the 999 people not want to be on the other side of the phone call, right? It's because they find the information you're providing not valuable at that point in time. And this is really important, at that point in time, right? When they're ready to buy, everything you send them is valuable, right? When they're ready to sell, everything you send them is valuable. But after that transaction is done, like, what is the value? And this is a question that we're trying to ask ourselves, right? How do we activate your 999 people that don't want to hear you? How do you activate them? Now,
Great question.
there might be some passive buyers in the database, right? That are like passively looking, but they are still not ready to talk to a human being and commit because they're not sure, right?
Yep.
So this is where agentic AI in real estate really kicks in our opinion, is you get them on board into Helio, which is your, CRM. We actually, in fact, coined a term called ARM, right? Which is AI-driven relationship manager, right? And it's a different kind of relationship manager. And I'll talk about the ARM in a little bit, but let's finish the use case. So now Leo will message this person saying, hey, it starts with like some boilerplate, let's start with some boilerplate conversations. Like it says, okay, what are you looking for? Maybe you've already provided some information, so we know what they're looking for or whatever. And Leo says, hey, I found this one property that matches your, like, is interesting, similar to your home. Let's just say they already bought a house. Leo might reach out to them and say, hey, there's a house similar to your house that's listed on the market right now for 500,000 more than what you bought for, right? Just making it up. Now, why is that like a great conversation? It's because you just gave somebody information that your house is more valuable now than when you bought it for. That's it. There's nothing more to it. They'll click on it. They'll engage with Leo. They'll maybe ask a few questions. And as Leo learns more and more about this person, it's building an intelligent AI profile about this person, right? What happens after that? At some point, Leo is smart enough to know what are they looking for? What is their time horizon of purchase? Are they selling? Are they buying? Are they renting? What does their family look like? When are their birthdays? And now it's having a conversation with them in a meaningful way, which is, an example was like, hey, your neighbor just listed a home, right? That's a meaningful conversation. But your traditional drip campaign is not going to send that email out, right?
Yep.
But Leo will, because Leo is an AI agent, not the standard, drip campaigns, right? So now you're building a automatic AI-based relationship with all your customers, all your 10,000 people, and of course, some will unsubscribe, some will, not respond or whatever. But over time, the idea is to track all of them. The idea is to send them less messages, but more meaningful messages, and this is really important. You want to, send them drip campaigns, and you want to send them emails every week. You already know how to do it. Like, you don't need Leo to do it for you.
But it almost sounds like
campaign.
And sorry to interrupt, Pritesh, but it almost, you're meeting them where they are, and you're providing information based on the profile that the AI agent is building over time that is actually relevant to them, instead of just picking up the phone and reaching out at a random time that is probably not going to be convenient for the lead or the client on the other end. To your point, they don't want to talk to an agent until they want to talk to an agent. And what I love about this is you're giving them relevant information, and you're building relationships. But they know, I'm assuming they know, at least for now, that they're not talking to a live person, and they're able to receive the information that they want to receive in the time frame that they want to receive it.
Exactly. And in fact, you bring up a very important point, which is not responding to Leo will not be considered rude.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's,
by the way, do you ask when you're asking chat or any of the AI agents, do you say please and thank you? Just curious.
No,
you don't. I do.
In fact,
I still do.
No, I think it works against you.
Really?
Yeah. I think there's a paper out there. I'll send you a link later. There's a paper that was published maybe 4 or 5 months ago that goes down the path of, like, if you're rude to an LLM, you're more likely to get better results.
You know what? This is how my paranoid brain works, Pritesh. I'm like, when AI takes over, I'm hoping it will remember that Clayton was nice to it.
Well, um,
But I'd
I
love to
think it
see
is going to
that.
take, it is going to take over, right? Like it's a matter of time.
Yeah,
I think I think we're like 30 years away.
man.
It is going to take over. It's going to make like most of our decisions for us. It's inevitable at this point. And people are experiencing it. They're just not realizing it. Like driving in a Waymo or a robot taxi.
Yeah.
Like you're literally letting someone drive, an AI agent drive for you, and you're not in control. You're not even at the steering wheel, right? It's already doing it. Like Roombas are cleaning your home. You have machines that make salads for you now in your kitchen, and all you have to do is pour like oil or whatever, like dressing. There are machines all over your home, and the most primitive ones are the washing machines. They're the most primitive ones, but they're still there. It's happening right in front of us. People just are not seeing it that way,
Yeah.
right? They will only see it when a humanoid shows up, and it's like the humanoid is the culmination of like a lot of technology that has been built over the years. Um, Going back to the conversation, so in many ways, like Leo is a less aggressive version of having a natural conversation, right? And providing value when needed. So it's very possible that Leo doesn't send a single message to one of your people for like a few months, right? Because there's nothing relevant to send them. And all you're going to do is destroy a relationship by sending them a message because they will think it's spam. But the moment there's something more relevant to send,
Yeah.
that's where you've triggered that connection, right? So that's one portion of Leo. Now, every conversation, every engagement, every parting, or every looking at a property, or every question that they're asking or revealing information, Leo is now building a profile, an intelligent profile in your ARM, which is like your AI relationship manager, right? And this gets exposed to the agents on the back end, right? Now we're taking a strong line on it, is that they're not going to be fields like a traditional CRM where people can add information or whatever. We'll probably let you type a paragraph or something, and in that paragraph you can provide context to the profile. So you can say like, Pritesh has 3 kids, blah blah blah, name, age, all that kind of stuff. and the AI can read and adapt to it, but we're not going to build like an entire interface so that you can like start doing what you're doing in your traditional CRM inside of Leo, right? Because that kind of defeats the purpose in many ways. And then you have this combo of like an agent that's working and building a database for you, and it's like a virtuous circle going back and forth on it. And hopefully a result of that is you have better client engagement. You're activating people in your database that are not, willing to engage, and have your positive ROI on the whole thing, right? So, a few use cases that people are experimenting right now is there are some agents at Real who are great at acquiring leads, not through Zero Flex or anything like that, just traditional advertising. And with traditional advertising, what ends up happening is some people will fill up your form and never reply to you. And some people will fill up the form and will reply to you, right? So you have active and passive communication. Some people are putting Leo on the active side. Some people are putting it on the passive side, where, well, this lead is dead. They don't want to actually talk to a human being. They filled up the form, they changed their mind or whatever. Now Leo gets hooked into that flow and say, hey, here's the property you are interested in. Click on this link, and Leo will onboard you. And once they're onboarded, they go into the ARM database, and now you have an engagement with them. So there are many, many ways of using this AI agent, right? And we're exploring all of those over 2020, rest of 2025 and 2026.
So, yeah, wow. So can you talk about Fly Homes and the acquisition again? We talked about it last time, but let's talk about it again, because I until that acquisition, I wasn't clear on how we were going to complete the loop. And so, what role is that ultimately going to play? Let me throw this out there and see if I'm how off I am. So, a lot of consumers are going to Zillow to search for properties. They're not going to a real estate agent's website. As much as we want them to, they're going to Zillow. Well, why is that? Right? I mean, why are they going to Zillow? Because Zillow is giving them the information that they're looking for better than an agent's website, for example. So, what role do you see, Fly Homes? And I don't know if we rebranded that at this point, but and is it Hey Leo? I mean, is that the rebrand? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And what role do you see that playing? Because in my mind, the more that we can keep a potential client on that platform, as opposed to, let's just say, it could be Realtor.com, Homes.com, Zillow. The better, selfishly, the better it is for us. So, and the only way we do that, again, in my opinion, is that we're providing information that they actually want to consume. So what role do you see Hey Leo playing? And I know we're not a Zillow competitor. We're not going to play that game, or a Realtor.com competitor, but what is the purpose? Like, what do you see in the next 12 months, 24 months? And then I've got some follow-up questions to that.
So, this is a great question. Hey Leo is not trying to be Zillow. In fact, I actually don't think it's possible to change behavior that easily. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is consumers are used to going to Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor.com. If you're in if you're in New York City, it's Street Easy, right? They're used to these apps, and that's not going to change. It's very, 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 very hard to change behavior, because it's distribution, not innovation, right? What Zillow has is distribution. They already have the eyeballs, they have the marketing, they have the users and their loyalty to it, right? And they've done a great job at building an app that works really well, and it's good. Mm-hmm. So trying to build the same thing and then try to compete with Zillow with a puny budget compared to what they do, right? It's unrealistic, and it's a failing. It's dead on arrival. Mm-hmm. So we work for agents, right? And then the second part of your question was, agents have their websites, and why would someone go to agents' websites and not go to Zillow? And this is something that we've said out loud previously. I don't know why agents have websites. I really don't. And I know this might be controversial, but I just don't know why they have it. I don't know why buyers would go to an agent website. Mm-hmm. Because that's change of behavior. They have Zillow apps on their phone. Why would they go to PriteshDamani.com? What is special? It's 100x worst experience for me to go to PriteshDamani.com, mm-hmm. or whatever my website is to find properties, then go to the Zillow app. 100x worst experience. Why would I do this? Right. And I don't know why people go down this path. And I think if I was a real estate agent, I would build a beautiful website. I would profile local businesses. I would talk about my local expertise, local events, everything local, not focus on property search, because literally nobody will ever use it. I think I think exposing property search on your website is checking the box but not doing the job. Mm-hmm. But that's my opinion. I've never sold homes, so what do I know? However, how does Hey Leo help you? Why do we think Hey Leo will work? It's because it doesn't get in the way. It's not change of behavior. Buyers are used to texting agents, mm-hmm. or sellers are used to texting agents. That doesn't change. It's the exact same thing. They are sending each other links, right? They send you links to MLSs. They send you links to Zillow, Realtor. In fact, a single buyer or a seller will send you links to multiple .coms. They're not even married to just Zillow or just Trulia or just whatever. Like they'll send you mixed links on text. In fact, um, Compass has Compass Collections, right? Which is in the app. It's a great app. I used to have a company that literally was a Compass Collections competitor called Realty Crunch, right? Which is what Real acquired. And I know for a fact that Compass Collection does not have 100% adoption. And it has like a cliff. It has a cliff on usage drop, right? What I mean by that is you get a new buyer, you say, hey, here's a great Compass app, download it. They make their collections. The app works perfectly. The problem is the buyer then goes to StreetEasy or Zillow and finds a link there. And now they want to use that. They want to send you that link. And what do? They text you. And as soon as that starts, it bypasses the app. People who are super organized love this kind of stuff. And of course, there are people who probably use it really well. But there's no way you can have 100% adoption on it because you're asking for change of behavior, which is hard.
Yeah, good point.
So with Hey Leo, our goal is to not change behavior. So to answer your question, are you competing with Zillow? Like, I don't think so, because it's like saying, hey, are you making a new car? Well, we're not making, if they are GM or Tesla or whatever you want to call them, we're not making cars. Like, I would rather, make a flying car and be in a different category. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not competing. It's serving the same purpose, but like not competing. Like it's not trying to replace Zillow.
I love what you just said. It's building a different category entirely. And so you just said a couple of things that really stood out to me. And one of them was why would an agent build a website? And by the way, I completely agree with you. I think what you said was, if I was an agent, I would go completely hyper local. And Pritesh, I completely agree. This is a little bit of an aside, but I think it's an important one. The reason that most agents won't do the hyper local stuff the way that it needs to be done is because it's a heavy lift. And I know that because we're doing it. And the only way to compete at all against Zillow is the hyper local content that potential home buyers, for example, if they're relocating to the area, they don't know. They don't know. They know what Zillow tells them or what Realtor.com tells them or whatever the app is that they're using. The only reason to go to a real estate agent's website is if they are finding information that is relevant to where they are in the home search process, trying to discover, okay, what is the south side of Richmond look like compared to the West End, or what is living in the city? How are the schools down there rated down there? What are the restaurants? What's the walkability? What's the environmental score? Like all of these things, if whoever's answering those questions consistently, typically is going to win that mind share battle. And I think that Hey Leo has potential also to, in that new category that's being created, to answer a lot of those questions as consumers engage with the AI agent. Agreed?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So all that being said, and this kind of takes us back to the beginning, how far are we off from, because we talk a lot about the experience. How far are we off from, a client engaging, a consumer engaging with Hey Leo, for example, and they're having conversations. It schedules a showing, right? Because Tamir, I don't know if you were on this call or not last week, but Tamir confirmed that we will have some sort of an integration with Showing Time, where it will have the ability to schedule showings on our behalf. But when we get to the point where an offer is ready to be written, how far are we off from the agent, the AI agent, writing that offer on our behalf? And then we have to review it the same way that you and your technology team are reviewing all of the code that is being written by artificial intelligence for our technology today. We would review the contract, of course, before we sent it to our clients. But how far are we off from the AI agent writing a listing agreement and pulling all that data that you said in the beginning, right? And streamlining that process? Because for me, the agent being the client of Real, It's all of the efficiencies that this tech is creating already, by the way, on the back end, but the potential for this thing in the next 12 to 24 months. How far are we off from things like that?
I think it's a great question, but instead of trying to answer that question, let me maybe talk about our day to day a little bit. We spend most of our time at Real talking about, is it a innovation or is it a distraction? Right. So instead of answering that question, maybe I'll ask the question. It's like, compared to how many contracts you sign per day, would you rather have Real bring you more customers or write a contract for you?
Both. I'd rather.
Well, see,
I'd rather have Real bring me more potential customers, of course.
So if we wanted, we could write contracts for you. The issue is that I would rather focus on, hey, Leo, and finish the journey that we started 5 years ago, which is create an agent that works on your behalf and does the chorey work, like all the chores that you have to do, send them properties, have conversations, set up appointments, set up showing times or whatever for you on your behalf, rather than focusing on the contract and filling up the contract. Because on one side, we can generate new money for you, and the other side, we can save you, some time. And like, you're a big agent, so for you, this might be massive saving of time, but like, we also know that most agents do 2 to 3 deals a year, 4 deals a year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do they think this is helpful, or do they think the other side, which is, hey, it's going to generate more business for me? I think it's the latter, right? Like, it's generating more business, creates just more opportunities for everybody. And if that means that we have now created, like, I don't know, maybe an hour worth of work for you to fill up a contract, I think people welcome the second case like all day, right? So we're not too far away from filling up a contract for you if we wanted to do it. We're choosing not to do it right now. It's because we want to focus on generating new business for you, right? And don't forget, like, the story at Real is that we have a low cost brokerage that is very, very efficient and is investing in technology with the end goal to attach ancillary services to Leo. So as an investor of a company, you would also want us to focus on that. As Wall Street wants us to focus on that. Everybody wants us to focus on attaching ancillary. And this is our story to attach ancillary. So very exciting things will happen in the near future, where not only Leo is answering questions, but Leo is getting your buyers pre-approved. Like, obviously all RESPA compliant, and agents will have an opinion on how it's done, right? Because at the end of the day, it is your asset. Like, Real is yours. You own it. Most Real is an agent-owned company, right? So it works for you. It will always work for you. It just needs to figure out how to work for everyone at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there's a lot of interesting things. To answer your question, like, if you really wanted to fill up a contract, we can. Today, Leo, for example, when you upload a contract, it tells you all the things that are wrong in the contract. That's already live, right? So it's not that hard for us to fill up the contract.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is, once the baby's born, that's when the real, work starts. Right. So we could like burst the contract filling up, and then we're defending, 50 states, Canada.
Yeah. It's more than
and all the nuances of like what happens after the launch, right? So we don't want to do anything that we can't defend. So focus is like the number one thing that we need to like keep,
No, I actually really respect that answer, because it's really easy in this day and age to get distracted, because you can unleash. We got 125 ish amazing humans on the technology team, so we could unleash a few of them to just go build this other thing. But then it takes the focus off of what you're building with Haley. I respect that answer a lot. Selfishly, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, you know what AI seems to be moving so fast. Why can't we just go tell it to build this thing for us? But then you bring up the point of, well, we've got not just 50 states, we've got 5 provinces in Canada and all the different rules and regulations, and somebody, AI does the wrong thing one time, and then you got to deal with that from a contract writing perspective, and the agent misses it, and then they blame AI. It's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And this goes through like everybody's mind a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
Like our GC will say this all day. And also remember, like, even in your scenario, if Leo generated, say 4 new activated leads for you for the entire year, which I think is extremely realistic, like highly likely, I would bet on it, right? That pays for a salary for a person who can write contracts for you all day.
Yeah, agreed. So I do want to touch on, because I think people are going to, they want to know the answer to this. Can you talk about ancillary services? And so if you're watching this, I want everybody to understand, whether you are an independent brokerage, whether you're with an independent brokerage, whether you're with a major franchise, it doesn't matter, right? The adoption of ancillary services is important to whatever company that you're with. It's important to the bottom line. And so a way to facilitate that, and what we're talking about, how it relates to Hey Leo, Pritesh, is by engaging, as we're building this profile. So we're going to turn on this AI this ARM. Did I say it right?
We started calling it Adam.
Aram. Okay.
Aram.
So we're going to turn that on inside of our technology. I'm excited about that. And this profile is being built. And when the client is ready to talk about, when they get to that stage, or like, okay, I'm getting serious about, looking at properties. Well, the agent is going to ask the appropriate question. Hey, by the way, have you had a chance to speak with a loan officer yet, a lender yet? If the response is negative, then we have some options for you. So and by the way, here's why it's a good idea to have a pre-approval letter before you start looking at property. So the agent is going to answer that objection, the potential objection, before they even ask it. So I love that. Probably better than we would. But talk about the options, right? Because we want to be RESPA compliant. If you're with Real like I am, we want Real to win, right? Every company that I've been, I want that company to win, but I want Real to win more because I am a shareholder. And so I want Real to win, and I want Real to win big, just like any company that, if I was with Google, I would want Google to win. If I was with Amazon, I would want Amazon to win big. So I want Real to win big.
Absolutely.
And so, how do we keep it RESPA compliant, make sure that we are taking care of the clients, right? And providing them with the best possible solutions while giving them options? What does that look like?
So Real will never steer, right? Leo will never steer. The idea is like Leo, the job. We don't want to trick the consumer into picking a ancillary service based on how we win, right? How we benefit out of it. I think we want to help the consumer pick a service that's best for them and provides the maximum value. Now, whether it's a better rate, whether it's a reliable closing, whether it's a guaranteed closing, whatever it is, right? And Leo will be good at educating the buyer in this scenario on what the differences are, right? Obviously, one of them, if we are doing business in that state, we would have One Real Mortgage as one of the options. But we are experimenting and going down the path of what we started calling BYOV, which is bring your own vendor. And the idea is that the agents will be able to bring their partners, their preferred partners or whatever, to the network. And every buyer, if applicable, will see those vendors as one of the choices to pick from, right? And Leo would expose it in a meaningful way. explain the differences, and they can pick. And Leo and Real has a financial incentive, a marketing fee you know, attached to these vendors. So that's the alternative, right? So it's similar to Lending Tree, just less of a link farm, more of a conversation. And also non-spammy because it only shows up in meaningful ways. Like it's not going to try to get somebody pre-approved who's already pre-approved. It makes no sense. Um, educating them on rates and meaningful interest rate changes and stuff like that is just part of the script, right? Um, but the idea is that you should be able to bring your own vendors to Real. Maybe you're part of the Real Originate program and you're already part of that. Um, but the but the overall idea is that you're talking to an agent's concierge, who is responsible for a smooth real estate transaction, right? Educates the buyer along the way of the risks and even the fun parts, schools, zonings, title, explaining to them what the title, exclusions are, and all the little details that actually matter that sometimes buyers don't even want to ask their realtors because some of them are like, oh, I don't want to like sound like I don't know what I'm doing. It's interesting how this goes. But anyways, like I think we're getting closer to where we want to be. And again, don't forget, like, the agentic AI, the same thing we did on the brokerage side, right? We launched the Leo Companions, which was also a foray into agentic AI, where agents are now able to ask broker questions directly in the app, have a voice conversation. In fact, we now have data that is very interesting and very surprising. Not after the fact, but once we know why, we're like, oh yeah, it's obvious, but nobody thought about it before. Is that voice performs exponentially better than chat at responding with answers. And the reason is because people like to jibber jabber when they're talking, but they don't want to do it when they're typing. So when they're talking, they give us a lot more information about what's happening versus help on chat or like support or like CDA. And then you have to guess what they mean. But when they're calling, Leo engages them into a conversation and they end up giving so much more context to the conversation that has a much higher success rate. Which is incredible. So we're like, oh my God, like it's actually like succeeding like order of magnitude right now.
Well, and I love that. And I want to, I'd love to talk about that briefly and then wrap up with paying for leads if we can. So what's really interesting about, what was announced at Rise is it kind of goes back to, for me at least, and I don't know if you have data on this. If I don't have to talk to a broker, and maybe this is just the way that my brain works after 20 years in the business, and I love our brokers, but we have 4 incredible brokers here in the state of Virginia. So if you watch this, please don't take this the wrong way. But if I can get the answer from Leo that I'm looking for, and I don't have to pick up the phone and have a conversation with somebody, just like a client when they're not ready to talk to if they don't have to talk to a live person, they don't want to. Are we not living in that world, right or wrong? Like if I don't have to engage with a human, is that just me? I mean, is there any data on that? If that's making sense. And then also remember, every one of these conversations is being recorded and transcribed. So Leo's only going to get smarter and smarter and smarter when it's answering questions that our agents have. Now, obviously, if they want to talk to a broker, they can talk to a broker. But does that make sense? Is there any data around people wanting to engage with AI more than a live person, for example?
I think we don't have data on it at Real, but I think there's some data out there. That says like people are willing to ask questions that they wouldn't ask a human being to an AI. Right. So that on its own is valuable. And I will say that what's happening as part of like our foray into this whole agentic thing is every time the AI fails, it escalates to a human being automatically now, right? So when you call into the app and you're asking broker questions, it doesn't know how to do it. It will escalate to a human broker. And that escalation is a training call for us, right? Like, because now Leo already knows, or like reason our system knows that there was a call that was escalated and Leo was not able to answer that question. That entire call becomes training material, right?
Yeah, that's
And then in theory, it should be able to answer that question next time around once we retrain it, right? So we don't retrain every day, by the way. So if you ask a question right now and ask again, it's not going to like just work. But in theory, once a month or once every quarter, we're going to take all these questions and retrain Leo into understanding and doing better, right? So nothing is built overnight. I think, you know, I think we're making meaningful progress.
yeah.
For a brokerage our size, we really need to focus on technology. And I would just ask everybody, who's listening to this is, what do you think a real estate brokerage looks like 10 years from now? Like, not today. Like, man, it's silly to think about a year. Like, what do you think a real estate brokerage looks like 10 years from now?
Completely different. Yeah.
I don't think anybody can even predict what our jobs look like 10 years from now at this point, right? So I think we're thinking like that, right? We're not thinking next year. We can't think next year. It's too small of a time horizon.
Yeah.
To think next year.
It's a great point, Pritesh. It's a great point. Yeah. All right, let's wrap. And let me just say this to be clear. We love our brokers. So when I need a broker, I need a broker. But, yeah, we have 4 amazing brokers here. So the paying for leads, can we, because that was one of the things that was announced a few weeks ago, and people were like, what? So what does that look like?
We haven't announced the exact dollar amount that will get paid, but for every real conversation, I want to preface by real because, like, obviously there's going to be spam. Obviously there's going to be, bots having conversations and like stuff like that. Bots having conversations with bots and stuff like that. So we want to like make sure that it's real. For every real conversation, we want to, have some sort of payment attached to this conversation per minute, right? And the reason to do that is in many ways, incentivizing our agents to use Leo. That's one. 2 is we are essentially, because the end goal is to, not the only goal, but one of the end goals is to sell ancillary product. We want to make sure that the agents who are bringing these people who will end up buying one of the services are real, they are fairly compensated for it, right? So, however, this is a very RESPA compliant way of doing it because we don't know which lead is going to convert. You are just getting paid for the conversation, and you're not getting paid for conversions.
Yep.
You're not getting attached to a specific deal. You're not getting attached to a specific conversation. You're just getting paid for the conversation, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I think we know that there will be enough conversions where this will be worth it for everyone, right? When Leo works for you, which is you're running an ad campaign and you're sending all this traffic over to Leo, and then Leo is engaging, it's the same thing.
Yep.
You might spend $100 on the ads, right? And you bring in, like, I don't know, let's say 10 people.
Yep.
And out of those 10, if Leo is conversing with them, you might actually get repaid back a portion of that $100 just
that we spent
on those conversations alone, right? So, and of course, like, the end goal for agents is to create meaningful conversations and new business. For real, it's helping agents create new business and sell ancillary services, right? And for the buyer, it's an incredible experience that's non-spammy. And yeah, we're not competing with Zillow, but it's like, I think the car analogy, right? Like, it's just a different kind of car.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and again, just to be clear on this point as well, I mean, it's kind of a fluid situation that we're dealing with right now. So, of course, this will be RESPA compliant, and making sure that at the end of the day, the consumer is taken care of and they have the best options available for them. So, Pritesh, I will tell you, after I'm 21 years in the business in January, and
that's awesome.
This has been I know I don't look that old, but But my almost 20 months with Real has been the easiest company. I've been with 4 in 21 years. And this has been the easiest company that I've been with to do business. And a huge part of that is because of what you're doing, you know, obviously the vision that our amazing founder has. But what you and your team are doing and what you're building, what you continue to build, it just makes it easier to do business here than any platform that any brokerage I've ever been with. So thank you. Anything that you want to wrap with today?
No, man, thank you for being a great partner, and I think we're just getting started.
Yeah, and having fun doing it, man. Appreciate you, Pritesh.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Real Talk. Stay tuned for more episodes like this. If you haven't had a chance yet, please hit the subscribe button so we can continue to bring amazing guests just like Pritesh to the channel. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.